So this is the MFT biobanks. This is the kind of the generic biobank, I guess you'd say, for the trust. We sit in the Research and Innovation division, and I am the biobank manager. So we're actually located in clinical sciences in the MRI. We've been established as a bank since 2009, when we were set up as part of the BRC and called the BRC Biobank. So we're currently funded through the MFT Research and Innovation division, and we operate a cost recovery model to sort of continue to operate, as the division doesn't have all the money to support us. So we have approval from the HRA to operate as a research tissue bank, and I think Helen also mentioned this. So this means that we can release tissue for research without that research project having to have further ethical approval, which just speeds things up really. And we also have a license to store tissue from the HTA, so we're all compliant with the Human Tissue Act. So we're a small team. There's myself as the manager. Yasmin is my senior scientist slash donor coordinator slash general does everything person. And then we've got 3 lab technicians who mainly work on clinical trials, as we do a lot of clinical trial support now, as well as the tissue bank side of things. So in our bank, or archive, if you want to call it that, we've got samples available from patients with a range of cancers. We are mostly a cancer bank. So we've got gynecological cancers, mostly endometrial and ovarian, quite a large collection of renal, liver cancer, colorectal is another large one, metastatic disease, which is mostly liver mets from primary colorectal cancer, and then we've got a small number of prostate cancer samples and head and neck. We also have a large collection of inflammatory bowel disease, so Crohn's and colitis, which is the main collection that we have that is non-oncology. So that was the archive. We can also do prospective collection. So this is from patients with either liver cancer, colorectal cancer, metastatic liver disease, and inflammatory bowel disease. So I've put a big disclaimer on there that due to COVID-19, all prospective collections currently suspended. So if you do need some prospective collection for your study, then by all means we can talk about this, but I can't give you a date for restarting that at the moment, as we're all full-time on COVID trials. So the sample types that we generally try to collect, but it does depend on the disease group and what's available. So if you need fresh tissue, we can often collect this on the day of surgery from pathology labs, or we can collect it and freeze it, or we do formalin fixed paraffin embedded tissue blocks, and we can also collect blood and then process to serum and plasma. So depending on the patient population and the disease group, we may be able to collect all of these subtypes from one particular patient. And also, where available, we'll collect a sample of tumor tissue and a matched normal tissue from the same donor. We do have a lot of studies that aren't cancer research, but they do want basically histologically normal tissue from patients, so we can collect that. And there's the one grim picture that I put in there. It's not as good as Adam's though. So the data that we collect from our donors are the donor age, sex, height, weight, BMI, ethnicity, their medical history, what current meds they're on. We can acquire copies of the histopathology report, and then if there are any local clinical lab tests results that are available for like biochemistry and things like that, then we can request those from clinical labs. So our access policy is that we're open to all researchers, whether they're academic or private sector. So the best way to approach an application is to send an informal email to me, and we'll discuss what you need, because we don't want you filling out the application form if it's a sample type or a disease group that we just can't access because they're not on this site. So if samples are available or we can collect, then we'll progress that to a formal application, which is a brief application form which gets sent to the Access Committee for review. This will all sound very familiar, as it's basically what Helen does at Man Arts. Costs are agreed. I haven't put any costs on the slides because they do change. We do offer discounts to University of Manchester staff, and it's specific to samples and data. And then we'll have a transfer agreement signed, and then your samples will be released. And that's the end. So thank you very much. Happy to take questions at the end. I'll be around for the whole session.